Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Who's Joe YouTube Edition.
Who's Joe?
Who the is Joe?
Who's Joe?
Who's Joe?
Who's Joe?
Yeah. Who is Joe?
Today I am here with Dr. Ken Bodiford, and why don't you go ahead and tell us a little about yourself?
Hi, Joe. It's great to see you again. I can't believe so many years have passed since you've been in the band. So I'm starting to feel pretty old. But yeah, my name is Ken Bodiford, and I have been the director of bands at Jacksonville State University. This is my 27th year.
Oh, wow.
So been there for quite a while, and boy, the time has flown by. I've loved every year that I've been there, and I just feel very blessed that I got that job and I've been able to stick it out this long. And I'm looking forward to hopefully many more years.
So how are you with staring contests?
Well, I think I would be pretty good, but right before I logged on, my left contact is giving me fits. I don't know why, but it popped out.
Oh, no.
I found it on the mouse of my computer, trackpad of my computer, and I stuck it in real quick before you logged on. But I'll try my best, but I doubt if I'll last very long.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and ask the first question. Then I will do a countdown for the staring contest, and we will start that. So basically, we'll start the staring contest with when you start answering the first question. So
All right.
First question is, if you could bring anyone in the world, musician, celebrity, composer, anyone to collaborate with at JSU on a marching show, who would it be? And while you're thinking about that, I will do the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh my goodness, this is difficult trying to keep my eyes. Oh, I just blinked. I lost. Sorry. I told you I wouldn't be very good at that. So you won that one. But if I could bring in anybody to collaborate with us on the design of the program, that's such a hard question to answer because there's so many wonderful designers out there. The reason I hesitate to say anyone is because the people that I currently work with, it's just we get along so well and we've worked together so long and we know the program backward and forward, what we think will work and what we think may not work. It would almost be difficult to bring somebody else into the mix right now. I mean, I'm always open to listening to new ideas, but it definitely would have to be someone that would understand, there's limitations to a college program because you have to think of the college football fan, as well as you're thinking about all these incredible high school band students you're trying to recruit. So it's kind of a difficult balancing act to come up with a program that will appeal to both sides. I feel like we can't go too far to one side, like towards the drum corps thing, because we'll lose our audience. But yet we can't be too far to this side to the cheesy stuff that, may sneak into the programming because we'll lose the really talented kids. So I would have to say on that for right now, I'm just so happy with who we have on our team, and I'd probably just stick with them to stay on the safe side.
Makes perfect sense. So for those of you who have watched my videos before, at this point, I am going to try to go the rest of the interview as well without blinking. This is my 20th interview video now, and I'm now 20-0 in the staring contest portion.
Wow.
So obviously Southerners are well known among the marching circuits. They're invited to be in Macy's Parade, invited to be in BOA Grand Nationals. But to some extent, do you think that JSU is underappreciated in the overall college environment?
Well, I think in our little world of marching band, I think that the Southerners are appreciated for what they do. I mean, it's kind of unique to a lot of college band programs because we are a little bit more of a drum corps style band rather than more of a, I guess I don't know what to call it. We don't play the top 10 pop tunes on the field. It's more of a structured design type show, which is unusual for a lot of big college bands because most try to appeal to that fan in the stand, which is completely what you have to do. Fortunately, our fans have become to appreciate what we do, which is a little bit more involved than a typical marching band. We don't do several shows a year. We do one huge production and we try to perfect that, which allows us to do a lot more marching, a lot more in-depth design of the show with maybe like a thematic production. So I think it is well appreciated within the band world for what we do. I know I'm really good friends with band directors all across the country, and all of us have a great respect for what we have to do in our situation.
You mentioned that you've been the director at Southerners for 27 years now. Which it's nearly impossible to imagine Southerners without Dr. Ken Bodiford. But 27 years ago, did you imagine that Southerners would be the iconic program that it is now?
Well, whenever I came back in 1994, I got the job. And to me, when I was in school, Southerners was already an iconic program because, we didn't march 500 back then, but we had close to 300, which was a really good size band for such a small university. Because back then, JSU had maybe 7 or 8,000 students, and we had this big band of 300 people. But I'll be honest with you, it's taken a lot of work to actually build it into what it has become, to just take what Dr. Walters had built and keep moving forward. Of course, as the program's grown, we've had to, ask for bigger budgets. We've had to bring in more staff people. When I first got the job, I was the only band director. It was me, and as the program grew, fortunately, we were able to bring in other wonderful people. I have, Clint Gillespie as the associate director of bands, and he's a phenomenal percussionist, and he writes all of our percussion books and works with our drum line. And also he conducts one of the concert bands. I have Dr. Jeremy Stovall, who is a former drum major of Southerners, who is one of our assistant band directors. He conducts a symphonic band, runs the pep band at JSU, which is a small version of Southerners, but with a different take of style. His wife, Noelle Stovall, is over our marching ballerinas, does a wonderful job. She's a former marching ballerina. And then, of course, I've got Rodney Bailey, one of our English professors, who's over the color guard program. And he was also a former marching Southerner. So the thing that I think has helped us be so successful is that all of us on the leadership team of the Southerners, we are all former marching Southerners ourselves. And we all got at least our undergraduate degree at Jacksonville State University. So we have a deep love for the program. And when you're working as an alumni or alumnus from a program, you're going to do everything in your power to make sure it's successful.
What personally do you think makes Southerners be as special as it is?
Well, from day one, when the new students come in, we start talking to them about family and how important that is in the Southerners. And I know it sounds kind of weird to talk about that with a marching band, but it's so true. And I wish I could explain it. And Joe, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, but you have to be a part of it to know exactly what I'm talking about. But once you become a member of that program, you've got 500 brothers and sisters that would go to bat for you for anything. They may not know you, but if you're part of their family, they're going to take care of you if you're in trouble or even outside the rehearsal or performances. It's that family bond that we make in that program that's just very, very special.
So, for those of my viewers that do not know Marching Southerners and Marching Southerners tradition, how to them would you explain the tradition around I'll Fly Away?
Well, that's really interesting. If you ever see a major performance of the Southerners, or if you come to a Thursday night rehearsal, and at the end of football games, you'll hear the band sing "I'll Fly Away." And over the past few years, it used to be just a band thing at Jack State, just a thing for the Southerners. But the past few years, it has spread to our football team. They run over to the band and they sing it with the band, and it's spread to the student body now. You'll see all the JSU students sticking around after the game, and everybody just huddles up arm in arm before COVID, and they sing through "I'll Fly Away." And then there's one part in "I'll Fly Away" that the whole band and everybody screams in the morning. And it's such a beautiful song, and they're singing in 4-part harmony. And then you get to that part and everybody's screaming. And to someone that doesn't know our tradition, they may think that's a little bit irreverent for that particular song. But the band back, in the 1960s, they were in line for the inaugural parade for the governor of Alabama. I don't know who the governor was then, but there was a big delay, and it was freezing cold, and the band, from what I've understood, had sat there for a long time, and they were becoming uncomfortable because it was very cold and everything. And their drum major at the time, who was Freddie Pollard, rest his soul, he's already passed away by now, but he started singing "I'll Fly Away." And then the band just started joining in, a few more people, and it just eventually the entire band was singing. And that was the birth of "I'll Fly Away" with the Southerners. And, the screaming part in the middle where they yell in the morning, I've heard different people say what they think it is, but it seems like the majority of people relate that to screaming to the heavens to the members that we've lost. And it's kind of a acknowledgement to them and how much we appreciate the foundation that they've helped build and they have sustained, that we've tried to carry on.
I know I mentioned earlier being the exhibition band at BOA Grand Nationals and playing at the Macy's Parade. I mean, Southerners have even played for the Queen. But out of all of your years at JSU, do you have like a particular favorite moment that just kind of sticks out?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I could probably narrow it down to 3, even there's a lot more. And one of them was not a big trip. It was my second year teaching at Jack State, and it was 1995. And when I was a student, Jacksonville State and Troy State at that time they were huge rivals. And it was more of a rival with the bands than the football teams. Of course, we always wanted to win football, but man, both bands had such a huge following. And whenever Jack State and Troy State played back in those years, the stadiums would be packed. And after the games, the bands would start playing back and forth, tunes, and sometimes we'd stay there an hour and a half after the game just playing back and forth. Jack State would play a tune, Troy would play a tune, just kept going. It was just it was an amazing atmosphere. But I remember Troy had gone off the schedule for several years after I graduated. And then when I came back in 94, they had announced that in 1995, Jack State was going to play Troy again. And as soon as they announced that, this new energy kind of was breathed into the band, it seemed like, because everybody couldn't wait for the Troy State Jack State game. It was still called Troy State back then. And I remember we put together this show, and of course it ended with one of our favorite tunes that we love to do with Jack State is Malagueña. And I was actually one night with some other students, and we started talking about what we could do, and we started putting this idea of putting the wedge together and flying it across the field, kind of like Phantom Regiment did. And that year we had built the band up to about 250 members. My first year there, we had about 120 or so in the band. And then it grew as the season went on. I was putting ads in the school paper. I was like, look, if you can hold a horn and just pretend to be playing, we'll teach you how to march. Come be in the Southerners, So we kind of built up a few more members then. But 1995 was a big turning year for us because we really grew a lot. In one year from 94 to 95, we jumped up to about 250. And I will never forget, I think that was the turning point of the Marching Southerners in my era. But when we hit that closer and that wedge formed over on the left side of the field, and then it flew across the field and hit the 50, and all the flags and the wings and stuff opened up that we had put into the auxiliary units, the crowd went berserk. And it was one of those moments I will never forget. And I think we really used that to catapult the band the next year to even be larger because we recruited a lot of students. But I would say the two other most memorable moments would have been when we went to Hawaii and played for the 75th anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. That was just such a moving performance when we got to perform there. And we actually got to meet some survivors from Pearl Harbor. And it was just very special. And then whenever they took the flag off the U.S. Missouri, we saw them taking it down and they folded it up and presented it to the band. It was one of those moments you'll never forget because it touched your heart. And then probably the most recent moment was when we led the parade in Rome, Italy for the World Peace Parade. And of course, being in front of the parade, as soon as we came in, towards the end of the parade where it led us right in front of the Vatican, that one of the people running the parade grabbed me and said, "Hey, pull the band this way." And so I led them on over and we went around and we kind of parked the band in this certain area. And they had some overhead shots and you could see this big glob of red where the Marching Southerners were standing. And they said, "Watch that building right there." And literally the Southerners were right in front of this building and the Pope arrived out of his apartment. He opened the windows and he was looking right over the Marching Southerners. And it was just such a surreal moment to be that close to the Pope. And I looked around and, tears were coming out of the students' eyes. And it was another one of those moments that I'll just never forget.
One thing you see with college bands like USC is that they often work closely with the film industry because obviously the film industry is huge in California, especially in the part of California that USC is in. But now that we're starting to see a burgeoning film industry in Atlanta, which really isn't that far away, do you think there's any potential for the JSU music program to also start collaborating with the film industry?
Most definitely, and that's actually already started happening. We've been called several times to provide band members for commercials. As a matter of fact, there was going to be a really big shoot. They were going to use most of our drum line, and we were trying to get all that set up, but then COVID hit, and it kind of put a stop to everything. But we have had them ask, "Hey, do you have 4 or 5 drummers that want to make some money and come and play for us?" And they may not be in a Jack State uniform, but we are getting our foot in the door of that industry, being so close to Atlanta.
So obviously you have your doctorate. What was the process of getting that like, and had that always been a dream of yours to eventually get your doctorate?
I always thought about it, but it seems so far in the future that it was unattainable. And I just had an opportunity to come along. It was at the same time that I was acting as the director of Spirit of Atlanta. I had been the director there for 7 years. And boy, it was just really starting to wear on me because running a full band program at a university and then going all summer with a drum corps, and we'd have finals on Saturday night, and then I had to fly back overnight and start band camp with the Southerners on Sunday. It was just, after 7 years, it was really wearing me out. And I got a phone call. I was talking to the band director at University of Alabama, Ken Ozello, and he talked to me about the possibility of getting a doctoral assistantship there and coming down and working on my doctorate. And I would kind of help out with the $1 million, I almost called them the Marching Southerners, the $1 million band at Tuscaloosa. And that just really, at that point, sounded awesome. It was a different thing for me to do, and I could start working on my doctorate. And, unfortunately, at that time, I had to give up Spirit in order to do that. I went to my administration, and they gave me a year a year sabbatical to go to Tuscaloosa and work on my doctorate. And I tell you, Ken Ozello and Randall Coleman were just wonderful. I never felt like they were looking down on me as a student. They just treated me like a third band director. And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience working on my doctorate there at the University of Alabama.
I think we've got enough to work with right now. I've been going 33 minutes without blinking.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to do what I've done in all the previous videos, and I'm going to get you to say I was not able to beat Joe in a staring contest.
Okay. I was not able to beat Joe in a staring contest.
And one
You
thing...
can blink now, Joe.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and blink.
There you go. Does it feel good?
It does. It does. It definitely does. And one thing I'd like to get you to do is I'd like to get you to call out somebody you know to sit on the other end and be in a staring contest video with me.
Let's see. How about Rodney Bailey?
Okay. I'd have Rodney on. So, Rodney, you have been called out to be in one of my staring contest videos. And at this point, I usually get my guests to plug something or talk about something. Do you have anything coming up with Southerners that you'd like to talk about?
Actually, I would love to. I don't know how soon this will air, but this Tuesday night, we're doing something for the very first time with the Marching Southerners. We have teamed up with the admissions team at JSU, and we are having a virtual Future Marching Southerners night. And we've got our admission staff involved. The Dean of Arts and Humanities is going to be speaking. I'm going to talk to all these high school students that join us about how they can become a Marching Southerner, how they can apply, and the interview, the process for applying and doing a scholarship audition so they can get money to go to school. I'm going to talk to them about our wind ensembles, their chamber winds, the wind ensemble, and the symphonic band. We're going to talk about our jazz program and our orchestra at JSU. And once we kind of give an overview, then we're going to have breakout rooms where all these students can go in these breakout rooms and meet our faculty in the music department. So we're going to have a woodwind breakout room, a brass breakout room, and a color guard and a dance line or marching ballerina breakout room. So these students can kind of meet the adults that run, those studios and in that area and ask any question that they want about what it's like to be, what is it like for me to be a flute major in your studio, Dr. Benson? That may be one of their questions. And they'll answer. And we've also got a lot of Southerners that are going to be in the breakout rooms that can answer specific questions about their section in the Marching Southerners. So I think it's going to be a great event. We're very excited about it. We had a practice run yesterday, and it went great. So if there's any high school students out there, if they want to go to my Facebook page, it's just Ken Bodiford, or the Marching Southerners Facebook page, we've got a poster with a QR code they can scan, which will take them to the registration, or they can just click the link that we provide as well, and they'll be able to register for the group and get in on the Zoom meeting.
That sounds really cool. Unfortunately, this video probably won't be posted. You said it's going to be this Tuesday?
Yeah, it'll be this Tuesday.
So this video will be posted a week after the event happens, so apologies for that. But I will definitely put a link to the Marching Southerners Facebook page and your Facebook page in the video's description, so that if you are a high schooler in a marching band and would like to check out Marching Southerners, then you can click on those links to go check them out, because Marching Southerners, like Dr. Bodiford said, Marching Southerners is an experience. It's a family, and it's something that will be part of you for the rest of your life if you so decide to join. This shirt I'm wearing is from when I was in Marching Southerners many years ago.
Joe, what year is that shirt? Is that's one of the Spanish shows, right?
It is. It's 2002.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's been a while ago. That's 18 years ago.
Yes. Definitely showing my age now.
Yeah. Hey, we all are.
Well, that's going to be it for this episode of Who's Joe YouTube Edition. If you haven't already liked the video, go ahead and do that. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. like I said before, I'm going to put links to the Marching Southerners Facebook page. Go ahead and check it out. It's a really great organization. But there's going to be a video down here at the bottom left that I've recommended, a video down here at the bottom right that YouTube has recommended. Watch one of them, watch both of them, watch all of them, and we'll see you the next time.
Thanks, Joe.